Welcome back, high levelers. Rayo Daniel here. In this video, what we're going to cover are documents and contracts, also known as proposals and estimates, and how all of that stuff and how all of this system works inside of the Highlevel platform. However, before we get started, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please help support me. I always appreciate your support. Click on the subscribe button. If you do find the video interesting or you like it, please comment on it, give it a good like, and that I always appreciate, again, your support. So here, when we get into this is going to be a longer video than I normally make because what we're going to go over today is quite complex. There's a lot of moving pieces in it, and it's a little bit more complicated to get set up, which is why we're going to take a little bit more time in this video to cover each of the components, how you would configure them, and hopefully I can maybe touch on your business and how you would do that in this particular video, but it's going to be a little bit of a longer one. But here, what I wanted to make sure that I introduce, rather than bouncing around from different topics, what I want to do is I want to go over how to create a proposal, like what those are, proposals versus estimates in there, because we can create both of them if you wanted to. But right now, I think proposals are what people really want, because right now they're interested in using the new electronic digital signature feature of Highlevel, and that's one of the places where you can use them. So proposals, estimates, how to create custom email templates. This is a little bit of a tricky one. I'm going to show you, it took me a little bit to figure this out, but how to replace a default template that gets sent out on emails when you have view proposals, and how you configure the links and all that other stuff to the documents. I'll show you how to do all that. Also, I'm going to help you go through the document builder, understanding some of the components, some of the elements, some of the features, some of the buttons, some of the things you can do at the designer level that you may or may not know about, and then go over some of the electronic signatures, do's versus don'ts in there. And then finally, at the very end, what we're going to do is we're going to cover document automation. So right now, how do you automate this new feature? Once you've got these proposals and once you've got the template set up and once you've done all the work to get these things done and you've tested it, now how do you put it in play? How do you automate this throughout your funnels or your website or however you want to implement this? We're going to talk about that as well. So right now, let's just kind of hop into it. I do want to sit back and just let you know, this is a little bit of an older, outdated document. It's how to use proposals and estimates. It's a part of the Highlevel help system. Now, this was modified on November of last year. So you will have to make sure that you look at this as a good framework, but some of the information in this document is outdated. Now, I'm not going to go over a complete tutorial of all of the buttons, features, and exactly how things work. I'm not going to do that in this particular video. I'm going to touch on a few things, but please look at this particular help article. It covers, what are the specifically some of the elements that you're going to be using and how to do some of the things inside of the proposal and estimate builder. But this document is outdated, and it's outdated because initially Highlevel wanted to come out with proposals and estimates. They wanted to add that new feature in, and they did last year, but the feature was severely lacking in the fact that you had to create the documents inside of Highlevel, and then you had to move them to some other form of electronic signature platform, PandaDocs, DocuSign, whatever it is that you use in your particular industry, but they all work the same. You'd have to upload the document, drag the fields over for the recipients. You'd have to have another piece of software that dealt with all the completion, wait for the emails to come back, and then you had to go back in to Highlevel and maybe generate an invoice and help them out with the billing. And I'll kind of show you here, it'll be a little bit later in the video, how the document signature, sign, and completion process ties into the billing, whether you want to automate the invoicing of your particular clients or not after the signature has already been done. That's a really great feature that Highlevel has in there. I'll show you how to turn that on and off. And I am going to be bouncing around here a bit in this particular video, so if I do miss some things specifically with what you have questions, please make sure you leave a comment. And I'm sure I get a lot of comments, and people have been asking me to create this video. And to be honest, I've been leery about doing it because it takes a little bit longer to kind of get all of this stuff set up, scenario and things like that. And I finally decided with enough requests to go ahead and do this. So let's hop into it. So here we're going to be inside of one of our my demo accounts that I created for demonstration purposes. This company is called Global Agency, and it is a digital marketing agency, just like I'm sure your agency is as well. So I just want to show you kind of what that would look like. Now, right now we need to go on the left-hand side over to payments, and then we're going to see that we've got this nice little documents and contracts up here at the top. Now, this was called proposals and estimates. If you look inside of the help article I referenced earlier, it does, say they've changed the name. Now, they changed it to documents and contracts after they added the electronic signature in. So after proposals and estimates were in here, they had those in there. Everybody was beginning using them. They complained about no digital signatures. So it looks like, the gurus over there at Highlevel said, hey, let's get this feature out because people voted on it on the ideas board. So they put in the digital signatures. And when they did that, they realized, let's kind of rename or rebrand that particular area to just be documents and contracts, because literally you can build anything. This is a sort of a white labeled document creation process. You can create proposals. You can create estimates. I mean, I was at one point in the real estate business. I mean, if you're a property manager or you own properties, you can even generate leases, inside of this system. Put your lease inside of here and have your tenants sign your lease directly from Highlevel if you wanted to. I mean, it's that open and available to have you do that. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, this new documents and contracts area is where we're going to be focusing on. So right now, if you notice on the menu option, there's two options: all documents and contracts, and then templates. So inside of this, you can, in order to create a document here, you can create a document manually if you wanted to. And I'm going to go ahead and just pop in here and show you. If you wanted to, you can click on new. You can create a document, proposal, or estimate from scratch. If you wanted to, you could do that. I don't recommend it, but this is if you have a one-off kind of proposal or something like that you need to deal with, something that you're not going to be using like as a template. But for the most part, if you are, I'm just going to get rid of this and do some cleanup. But if you're going to be using the documents and contracts, most likely you're going to be using templates. You're going to have a certain proposal for your services, and you want to be able to build that template so general that you could reuse it over and over again. And I'm going to show you some of the features inside the document builder that allow you to do that. So right now, before we kind of get into the document builder, what I do want to sit back and show you are some of the settings that you have in here. So I want to show you, before I do that, I'll just show you the template area as well. Now for time's sake, I built sort of an estimate, and I'll walk through it here. That was a little bit more of a time builder. I didn't want to have you guys waiting while I built this. So I did build it, and I'll kind of go over that in a little bit for it. But notice that you have to go to all documents and contracts to access this settings button. So right now, if we click on settings, some of the things inside here that I want to show you are some of the customizations that you can make inside of your document builder, meaning email templates. Now, right now, if you take a look here, I have been playing with this, so I'm going to just save this back to default. Now, like with many other features inside of Highlevel, they do allow you to sit back and create a custom email template to send out to customize it, because the one that comes with Highlevel, which you cannot edit, by the way, you can't change anything. And I'm going to quickly show this to you here. Give me a second. I'm going to move this down, but a second. So I've already been kind of playing with this. This right here is the generic default template that you get. Notice that the view proposal button, it's kind of had like a light purple on it. So it's kind of branded. It does have this big old link if you take a look at it here, and I'll show you where you can find that link when you start doing some of the automation pieces, how you find the link and things like that. I'll show you where that is so you can customize your email and create your own button. But here, this is kind of what you get. It just takes the header, it fills in some of the other information, pretty plain Jane. So it works. It's definitely doable. But one of the things I do want to show you is how we can go in and change this to change the default email template, and we can set that here. I have created a document signature template, which I was playing with earlier. And if you wanted to, you can just simply come down here to the marketing, emails, and templates. And if we take a look at this, you can just build this as standard email template that you can build out. Notice I have a different logo here, proposal. I tried to make it match exactly kind of what the other one was, just to kind of show you, but this is just an image. This is a text button that has a field inside of Highlevel so that it puts in the contact's name. Also down here, I just say hello. If we take a look at this contact first name is what I've got. And so we sent your proposal. Now, here's where I wanted to sit back and recommend that we always do like a custom email. Take the time and build a custom email template, because when you put a button in here, okay, you can actually go through and edit this and edit it for your colors and make it look branded like it's coming from you. You can include, other things in here as well. Anything in the email builder you can put in here. But one of the things I do want to sit back and let you know about here is how do you access the document or the proposals elements. Now, typically, if we click on here, we can always come up to this area where there's custom values, and we can simply assign a contract. I'm sorry, not a contract, a contact. We can access any of the contact information, user appointment. This is all stuff that we've known about right now. Okay, these are all things that we know are available to us. But how do you access the proposal information? So when you're creating this particular button here, one of the things, let me go ahead and select this again. One of the things you can do for the actions on this one here, I just chose other, and forgive me, I'm going to try to blow this up a bit here. Give me a second, move this over. But I just chose other, and then when it has the other, it pulls up another action. Now, if you click on this particular button here, now this is where I kind of noticed it was a little bit strange. In this menu here, you get access to different things that you don't have access to the other contact menu that I showed you up top. So if you scroll down here, notice that you do have a proposals options here. So this link is only available inside of the actual like button property builder. So this is a sort of, it's hidden a little bit in there for you to use. But if you click on proposals, inside of here, you do have like proposal name you could use. The URL is what's important. That URL is that big old long URL that you saw in the email template that has a lot of characters after it. That URL for the document will be placed in the view proposal button for you. And then you be able to click on it. And then that'll take you out to the contact specific proposal. So that right there is very important. That can get a lot of people messed up on that one if you don't know about that one. And just some of the other information in here for the proposals. But I do want to show you where this little hidden thing was inside of here and how to access it, because it's not really available. If you sit back and start looking at for the URL, you could do that as well. But that's where you would access it here in the builder. So I'm not really going to do anything else on here. I just was trying to create something very simple. You can be a little bit more elaborate, which I would suggest you do, because that way you can, I'm just going to not save it. This way you can simply customize your email settings and everything is going to be good. So notice that you've got different options here. And forgive me, I know this is a little bit, I have to blow this up for you, but this right here is a document that you're going to send when people initially want to look at the proposal. That's one email template that you have to build. Another one is when the document is signed. Now, real quick here, I'm going to scroll down here and try to pull that email up here. Because unfortunately, with limitations here, I haven't been able to set up a complete scenario where I can sit back and email different things to multiple different people and just show you how this thing works. So I'm a little bit limited there. So right here, this is sort of the proposal template that you get by default after it's signed. It just simply says proposal successfully signed. This is to confirm that you've signed the below proposal and so forth. And you actually get this nice little attachment. And I'm going to pop up and show you where this is. So this right here is a marketing services agreement, and I'm going to show you, we're going to walk through how to build this inside of this demo. So, but this right here is the document that you finished. And if you scroll down to the very bottom, it has the signatures, on them, the digital signatures, and it even has the signature actually embedded in the document for verification purposes. So that is pretty cool, and very, very much like the other document signers, PandaDocs, or like I said, DocuSign. Whenever all the parties of the document have signed it, then you'll actually get, the system will send all parties a copy for their preference, the same way that you see here. So again, this is the generic email. If you wanted to, you can create a custom one here. I didn't do that, but you can. Hey, real quick, guys, if you're looking to start your own software company, then click on my free course in the link below. I'm going to teach you 8 ways that you can start your own software company very easily with no money out of pocket, no experience, and absolutely no tech skills. Check it out. Click the link below, and let's get back to the video. Also, for your team notifications, these are customer notifications right here. But for the team notifications, if you want to let them know, it just says, template used when the document has been successfully signed by the recipient. That way, the team gets notified. You might want to have a specific email about what the team gets whenever a document has been successfully signed. If you wanted to, you see that there is a toggle. So you can toggle these on or off if you don't want these notifications to go out. Now, personally, notice here that this cannot be turned off here. So just to kind of let you know that this is grayed out, because you have to at least send the view proposal. Otherwise, it can't even get to the document. But you don't have to send this one for the document signed, which I would recommend that you do, because it's always a good idea to have all parties get a copy of the signed document so that everybody's on the same page and they all get a copy. So the team notifications are one, and then product invoicing here. This is one of the things I'm going to come to a little bit later on, is how you deal with product invoicing. Now, if you're sending out a proposal and the proposal is, it could be for specifically a certain amount for your products or services. I don't know, it could be $5,000, $20,000, $50,000. I don't know, of work you're going to end up doing. If you wanted to, after that proposal and that stuff has been signed, you can actually have the system is automatically going to generate an invoice for that work to be done. Now, if you do not turn this feature on here, if this feature remains off, then the invoice is going to stay in draft mode. It's going to be created for the client, ready to send out, ready for you to get payment. So that invoice is already going to be created and done. If you check the box here and slide it over, then all it's going to do is, after that document is signed, it will send the invoice out to the client and actually request payment immediately. So that's going to be up to you. Again, how you're going to use this in your business, it's going to be completely up to you. And there's going to be so many different scenarios. I can only try to give you a few of them here in this example, but just trying to give you the basis of what this is going to be used for. So let's go ahead and hop into this. And now that we've gone over the settings, how you would configure custom email templates, where those email templates are, how you configure the URLs, because that's important. That custom link URL is very important, because if you don't have that, then the view URL button or link or whatever you send will not be visible and will not work, in which case your whole system will break down. So you can understand how important that is. So here what we're going to do is go into templates. I'm not going to go into the estimate quite yet. I'm going to start with a little bit more of a builder, but I want to show you over here the options that you have. You can create a new template, or you can upload a PDF file. Now this is very similar to some of the other Panda docs and so forth. You can create a document from scratch, or if you wanted to, you can upload a PDF document and then sort of drag fillable form fields in there. Sometimes they're not fillable, meaning people can't edit them on the form directly or type something in. Sometimes they are predetermined, but you kind of have to drag and slide them over and align them on the document. I personally don't like that. I've used it. Like I said, I've done contracts. I primarily use DocuSign myself in the past, but I mean, this right here just becomes a mess, because then you have to sort of resize it. And then when the document prints, it doesn't really look right, because all the other text is in a certain font and size. And then your stuff may be in a different text font or size. And it works, but it just looks weird. So we're going to do both on this one here. So right now, what we're going to do is go ahead and click on New Template. And what we're going to do is look at recreating the one that I showed you earlier. I'm just going to call it Marketing Agency Contract. Just click Save, just so I can be a good steward and just save things. Now, here is the document builder. Okay, this is one of the things that I wanted to sit back and show you, just some of the elements inside of this builder that you could use. Now, here under the Add Elements, this right here is very similar to the funnel builder or the website builder. These are the elements that allow you to create things inside of the document. These are all the ones that you get, and anything that you do has to use one of these elements. There's nothing else in here. And forgive me, I'm going to blow this up a bit. This right here is for the add element. This right here just takes a look at your pages. So if you have 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, allows you to quickly view the pages, switch between them and things like that. And then if you sit back and have document variables, if you're familiar with Panda Docs or whatever, this document variables, it's important to have for sure. But if you want to create it, you can create it. It's specifically very helpful in this type of contract when you want to use the same name over and over again. So you might be dealing with a certain project name or something like that, and rather than retyping the project name 3, 4, 5, 10 times throughout the document, what you'd want to do is create a variable, and then click on this button, create a variable, and you can call it project name. And these are the little nomenclatures. You can't have any spaces. That's a special character, so you can sit back and do underscores. You can do a dash. Looks like the dash isn't allowed. I thought it was, but you can do underscores if you wanted to. So project name, and I'm just gonna simply my awesome project. It could be whatever it is that you want. You can simply click Save, and now you see that you have all of your document variables over here that you can use, very similar to how you would have contact.firstname or contact.lastname inside of an email template or something like that. These variables here can be used only inside of this document, but it's very helpful if you're saying that same thing over and over again. So document name, if you want to click on this and copy it, I'm going to blow back up. You can simply come here and add it. I'm just going to add a text field real quick, just drag and drop. And here, if you wanted to, you can just simply put that in there. And if you take a look, now you've got document.project_name. And any place that you put that particular field, then the value that you have under your documents here will show up, my awesome project. So if you want to change that, you don't have to go through the document and do like some sort of a find and replace inside of this template document. You can simply come over here to your variable name, change the variable name, and then the document moving forward will have those changes already included. So those are one of the things you might want to think about when building out your templates. Are you going to be using repetitive, like you might even put in a specific agency name in there. I know agency is already a part of this, but you might want to use a different kind of agency name for the template for whatever reason, and this would be a good place to do it. So that right there is one thing. Here's the options that you have. Now, some of the things I want to show you about this that I've been playing around with it here and just wanted to express things to you. Each of these elements only fit the full width of the document, meaning I have not been able to embed one element in another kind of thing. So, I can't, if I want to sit back and drop a table in here, and then say if I want to come here and add an image, notice that I can't put the image, inside of the table and have like a table with an image embedded in it. It doesn't allow me to do that. I could just click and drag, but each element takes up the full width of the document. Now, this is something I think it probably could be improved, but this is a great first try at templates. No offense, but just this is limiting. So this comes back to your design and then how you're going to end up designing it. So only one element per area of the document. You can't have anything embedded that I've been able to find yet. So each one of these are pretty cool. You can simply copy, you can simply delete. On here, this little bar allows you to move things around very easily between elements and move them up and move them down. So there's no arrows like in the funnel builder to move like an element up or down or something like that. So if I click on this, I can delete this. And if I go here, I'm going to delete this as well. So some of the other things, I mean, we have the standard toolbar. Right here is some of the other things that people may not end up seeing that if you wanted to, there is a duplicate page. So if you ever have a page that you want to just duplicate, then that feature is available here with these little 3 dots. I'm going to blow this up real quick, but page properties and duplicate page. I'm going to go to page properties real quick and just take a look. So if we go over here to the right, and I try to make these things a little bit bigger. I know I'm sort of in the way, but you have background color. You can put an image on the back of your in the back of your contract. So you can design it. It doesn't have to be a white background. You can put an image, you give it a URL here. You can tell it where the position is going to be. Do you want it to fill the page? Do you want it to fit auto? And here's one of the nice things about it, just the opacity. So, if you wanted to have sort of a watermarked type of image where the image is sort of faded, but behind the scenes, so you can kind of see it, but the text is still in front of it, you could reduce the opacity of that image down to, maybe 30%. And you'll still see something slightly behind the scenes, but it's not going to be so predominant that it covers up the text. So anyway, that's something that I want to sit back and make sure that you're aware of, that you have those properties available if you want to use them, or if you just want to change the background color and your font colors and just brand it to your particular company. So right now what I want to do is sit back and add an image here, because we're going to sit back and pull this image from our library, and we're going to have to resize this because that's way too big for a proposal. So I'm only going to do about 150, put it center perfectly, so that looks nice. Here we've got text. I'm going to drag this text over real quick, but notice if you wanted to, you can add a video. Now, adding a video, I'm kind of spitballing here, but some of these things like video elements are really meant to be used on like estimates. At least that's what Highlevel's documentation really says, because if you're doing an estimate, you might want to send an inline video. And I don't have a demo of this, by the way. I'm just kind of walking you through this, but you might want to have a video of the product or the service that you have so people can look at that, and that video does play inline on the page. It doesn't like link you out and take you to another page or anything. So that's pretty cool. If you're looking to sell them, or if you have a product demo of the product that you're looking to sell them, you can send that video with them inside of Highlevel. I do want to sit back and mention one flaw that I found here that I thought was rather interesting. If you do drop a video element here, notice that you have over here to the right, you have to paste a video URL. That kind of sucks. Why? Because Highlevel can do video hosting. So why not allow you to sit back and have a button that clicks out to the media library that can select a video that you want to play? It's a problem. So right now, the only way that you're going to get around that, you can still host your video inside of Highlevel. There's no reason why you can't. You'll just have to go to the media library first, then go to the video, right click on it and say get link, take that link and come here and put it into the video link here. And then you can choose your background height and stuff like that of how you want to position it. But I thought that was a little bit interesting when I saw it, that they didn't give you an option to, in this builder, to pull from the document library, just like we did with this image right here. So I wanted to share that with you. The table is a basic table. We're not really going to, I do use this in the estimate, and I'll kind of show you this. And it's very similar, add a row, add a column, delete a row, delete a column, change background colors. I mean, you could do all of that kind of fun stuff with all these other buttons that you see around here. But we're going to deal with that a little bit later time. And we've got product list. I'm going to show you how to use the product list. Typically, that's going to come in handy, whenever you sit back and send out estimates and things like that of your estimate of what you're dealing with. And then your page break. If you do drop a page break on the page, it just pushes everything on that page to the next page. So if I did this and put this right here, notice that now all you're doing is just saying, okay, what I want to do is take everything from this part of the page down and push it down to the next page. So you see the headings actually down here. So now you'd have to come here and delete that. Then you have to come here and say delete page. It's kind of hokey, but anyway, that's just what I saw. These electronic signatures, we will get into there. And then the text field, I will show you about that as well. So let's go ahead and just start dealing with the text. That was just sort of the builder, some of the things that I found that I wanted to share with you. But right now, let me pull up this additional file. Give me a second. So let me pull this up. So this right here, I don't know what this is. I literally just found something on the internet and downloaded it. A marketing services agreement is what I found. I haven't read it. I don't know anything about it. And this is strictly for demonstration purposes only. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all, and I'm going to copy it and just come over here to this particular area and just simply paste. So right now, just for the purposes of this right here, this is all I'm going to do. And now what I want to do is show you just, real quickly how you could take it and how you can change it. But notice that when you do this, this is all one big text block that's inside here. If you want to break your area up or sections into multiple blocks, you'd have to do that yourself. But for this one, what I'm going to do here is, let's just see, blow this up a bit. Give me a second. So it says this marketing service agreement is entered to upon, if you wanted to, we can sit back and come up here, scroll up this, but this right here is where you get all of your values. This is the button right here that you click to pull up anything. So right now, if you wanted to, for this particular field, you can simply come here and choose right now, put like, day, month, year, something like that, if you wanted to. So we've got, just month and then day. So we could throw that in there if we wanted to for the date. As far as the client right here, we could take this out, come here, go to contact, do full name here. So notice right here, this is where it's nice because now we can integrate Highlevel's custom fields into the exact same form, and they're going to be the exact font and font size to make it look like the document was created specifically for this user and not going to be kind of hokey where you have to drag a field over. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute once we're done with this. So right here, and you can go through and add all of these other fields that you want in here. So again, I'm not trying to give you a complete solution, just kind of show you how this ultimately works. But you can add any of the fields that you get here in there, including your custom value fields and things like that. So what I'm going to do here is I want to show you the electronic digital signature. So here, if we come down here to the signature, we see there is a one for the client and one for the provider, or in this case, you for this. So right now, if we do signed, we can just simply, I have to kind of go back a little bit to get to the element. But right here, if we drag the signature, we can put this up in here under signed. Now, here's one of the things, this right here, this field, any of these fields right here, which is fillable fields, these fields right here are movable. Okay, the other fields, these blocks, these are the ones that take up the entire space of the screen, and you can only have one, then the next one, then the next one. But one of the cool things is that the signature and the text fields here, the fillable text fields, and I'll show you here after this in the next example, is you can move these around. So this is pretty cool. This is like some of your other document providers where you can adjust it, kind of put it exactly on the line where you want to. Now, if you're going to be doing this and we're going to have like a client and a provider signature, one of the things that you're going to sit back and need to do is probably change the placeholders. So right now, this could be, if I come over here to the right, come on. It's not allowing me to do it, and I'm not sure why. All right, then I'm gonna have to leave it. I'm not gonna keep fighting it about it. I'm not sure why it's not letting me, but for the placeholder over here to the right, I would just simply put like client signature here or something like that. I'm gonna just delete this and see if I can re-add it because that's bothersome why you wouldn't be able to do that. There we go. Not sure why that happened, but so here's client signature, and then if you wanted to, and notice the color. These are color coded, so be aware of that, and I'll show you what that looks like here. But for the signature, if we come to the provider, we drop this on here. We come over here to this side and put provider signature, and it just gives the placeholders right here. Now, notice that these are both green. Now, very similar to PandaDocs, or again, DocuSign, that if you have multiple recipients, then typically what you're going to end up getting is you're going to have to get different color codes representing each particular user that's looking to sign. Typically, that's how it works when you're dealing with multiple people. But for the provider here, notice over here, if we sort of blow this back out, give me a second. So for here, if we click on this, we can, for the provider, we can simply come over here and assign this to me. So this right here is the person, or the user that's in this particular system that you want to be able to utilize. Now, I have noticed, again, with just like the mistake that we just saw, that sometimes these templates don't always necessarily work right. They're kind of, when you're in the builder, sometimes they get messed up and we have to kind of log out, back out of them, come back into the editor and start looking at the contract, and we can start taking a look at it here. But for this, we should be able to simply come in here and down here to select the client, and we should have just your client recipient list over here for this, and we'll be able to add the recipients here once we use this template. This right here is really just going to be a placeholder that we're using it for. Now, this is a single client signature blocks. Now, if the contracts that you have are going to be used for one client signature, if you're going to be using multiple signatures, then you have to sit back and make sure that you accommodate for the signature placeholder. So what I'm saying here is, let's just say there are 2 clients that need to sign this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come over here to signature, and I'm going to drop another one here and just put client signature because these are for the clients, and I'm going to sit back and save it. Now, whenever we use this template, then we're going to have to assign a recipient to it. But if you wanted to, you can simply come over here in the designer, at least for this, and decide who is the person that needs to sign it on your behalf. So if there's always going to be somebody like over here that you want to have signed, then you can simply choose that particular person to sign it and do that inside of the template, so you don't have to do that inside of the use case whenever you use it. So again, pretty straightforward here. I just took something off the internet, copied, pasted it. Now we have an agreement for this one. I'm going to wait and show you how to use this because I want to do the other example of how to upload a PDF for this. And I'm going to use the exact same document. I'm just going to upload the document as is. So here, if I want to upload a PDF, the elements really aren't going to work well with this. Right now, really, the fields that you want to deal with here are the signature and the text fields. So here, if you wanted to put something over here, you see you can come over here and move this around. You can simply edit this like you could in PandaDocs and kind of move it around, fit it on the line, and then enter a placeholder for here. But these are things that people are now, when they go and fill this out, they're going to have to type something in here. Do you see what I mean? So this is one of the things that kind of stinks if you want to sit back and utilize this. But this is why I don't necessarily like using the PDF documents. Sometimes you might have to use certain documents. Like if you're a part of certain agencies, there are certain documents that you're required to use. Like if I'm just going to use the example of a realtor. If you're a realtor, you have to use state approved documents in all that you do. You can't create your own documents because that would mean you're a lawyer and so forth and so on. But I don't necessarily like doing that, but there are a case where you might need to do that, in which case you would just need to use these form fields here to fill this stuff out and get them filled out. Also, if you're looking at this is where you would need to just drag your your signature down over here. So the exact same thing, put a placeholder, provider, you would have another provider. So you can use PDF documents, but you just have to make sure that you plan for those PDF documents, how they look inside of the builder, and being able to utilize them. So I just want to show you that you could upload this if you wanted to, and I'm just going to save this. So right now, one of the things I want to sit back and do now is go through and show you how you would use this marketing agency contract. So notice we're still under templates. If we go to all documents and contracts, notice that there are no documents in use right now. We haven't created anything yet. So what you end up having to do is go to templates. And over here to the right, if you want to choose this is the one that we use here in the middle. I'm going to click on these three dots and say use template. So here is the template that we have, has all the form fields and everything. If we look at, if we scroll down here to the bottom, notice that we have all the client signatures here. So if we click on this one, notice that the colors are different. That's important. I'm going to show you why. But here, notice that your designer, you had already signed, for myself, I'm the person from the provider that's going to sign. Now for the client, this is where you need to come up here and you get this nice little additional little people icon for recipients. This is where you can sit back, and now that you're going to use the document, now you have to assign this to a particular contact. Now, I'm going to finish up real quick here. There's a caveat to this I found out that I want to show you when it comes to automated documents that don't work when you're doing this. So when you're dealing with multiple people, you're adding multiple clients on this one, this is where you have to send things manually. I don't know if there's a way. I was trying to figure it out and I couldn't in this one, but in the workflow, you could really only have the workflow send out to one client. If you're dealing with one signature, one client, and you have the provider signature already defined in the template, then that document can be automated and can be sent out. And again, I'll show you how to do that later. But you can't have two client signatures because you can only have one contact in a workflow at a time, and having two client signatures won't work. So here in the builder, you can manually create a document, a proposal. You can manually send out to multiple people and get them signatures. You just can't automate it. Okay. Now, here I'm going to go ahead and add this, and what I'm going to do is these are all some test users. I'm going to just say John Smith. Notice that now the colors change. Notice that we've got John as purple on this one here, and I want to sit back and notice that I'm on here because I'm already a signer. But under here, I'm going to click on Add More Recipient, and I'm just going to add a test user that I've got created. But here are the users that are now included inside of the document to be able to sign. Now, this is no different than PandaDoc or DocuSign, where you had to include and add multiple people to the document. Then when you did that, you can drag people over, this person signs this person, and all of them are color coded to keep track of it and all that kind of good stuff. So how do you change it? How do I do this? Because right now, both client signatures are purple, which means that they're going to be assigned to John. So here, if I click on the client signature, notice that this is to be signed by John. But if the second one is going to be signed by somebody else, you need to come over here, click on this, and then assign it to your test user. So, excuse me. So in doing that, now notice that the colors are all different, which is cool. So we have purple, we have a little light green, and whatever that color blue is. So now I can simply save this if I wanted to, save it with success. I can simply click on this and preview it if I wanted to. Now this is going to generate all of the information in the document, all the form fields, all the contact, that first name, all the fields are going to be represented here, and all the information. This is for you to check to make sure everything looks good. Notice that the client signatures are not out, but notice here, if we take a look, this one is for John Smith. This one is for test user. This one is for Ray O'Daniel. So you can utilize this for multiple users, but this is only the preview, and we don't get the full option of being able to send this out. Now, in order to do this, if we want to create this proposal, generate it, and have multiple people sign it, then we can simply come over here and click send. Now, I'm going to do this here, and we might very well, I know some of these emails don't work, but I'm going to send it. And you notice you can say send. You can't really see it. Let me blow this up here. But if you click send, it says send via email or send via link. Pretty cool, right? So you can send an email, or if you just want to put it in a link and then send that link out to somebody, you could do that if you want to as well. Me personally, I just like sending it out via email, because when you do that, it does use the default email template that we already looked at and customized earlier. So I'm just going to click on send for this. Now I can tell you that both of the recipients, other than myself in this system, are emails don't work. So this is where it's going to be kind of hard setting up these scenarios. So anyway, I just wanted to show you how this works, show you how you can send out an email. And then inside of here, once we come back and you've got this going, now what I want to show you is if we look at the all documents and contracts, and I'll get this refreshed here. So right now, this is, notice over here, we've got draft 0 because we don't have anything in draft. We've already submitted it, waiting for others. This is the one that I just sent. So waiting for others means that you're waiting for somebody. There's one document here that is waiting for other signatures to be completed before it gets sent back out, and then completed here. So this right here are the documents that have already been done. These are some of the examples that have already been signed. This is where they're completed, and you can always go back and look at them inside of Highlevel. So you pull this up here and pull up this. So this right here is the email that I received. Notice that because I changed my template, notice that this template was the one that I created. And if I click on this or highlight over this, I get this big old long cryptic email. If I click on view proposal, then what it does is it goes out and puts that URL in there, that big old long crazy URL, and it just says start filling the agreement out. So I click on start filling out. Very similar. Notice that it knows who I am in it, so it comes directly down to me. These other ones are grayed out because my email address is not the ones assigned in the contact to those particular digital signatures. So here I can just click on sign if I want to. Come on. So this right here, and I'm just going to accept and sign. Then just simply click finish. Now, when I do this, it's going to be success. One of the things I thought was kind of strange is you don't really, there's nothing that closes things out, or there's not a screen here that switches somebody over to says, thank you. I would think that, like some of the other providers like DocuSign and things like that, it would go to another page that is like finished, completed, and so forth, but it just doesn't do that here. Now, the one thing I do want to show you is up here in the top right corner, these 3 dots. It does allow you to download the PDF of this, so you can download this, or the person that you send it to can download it. That option is available to you here, but that is, anyway, that's how that link gets sent out. And of course, you don't get the final email until the other people have signed. Now, if you're taking a look at this and we simply click on this and take a look, I'm going to scroll down here. Now, inside of some of the other providers, PandaDocs and DocuSign, you can look at the status of it. You can go in and click on it and see, if you got 3 signatures, maybe John Smith signed it, but this test user hasn't signed it yet. So you would see, I've signed it, these other 2 people haven't. Well, if you do have something where you sent it out and you're waiting for this to get sent back, a day goes by, 2 days go by, then this becomes a problem because now you're waiting for them to complete it. So you'll have to sit back and give them a call, talk to them, and just get them to figure out why they haven't signed the agreement, and get them to sign it and send it back to you. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of show you that is how you can go in and take a look at it to verify that you signed it, who signed it, what are we waiting on, and things like that, and whoever's a part of your team can handle that. So that is ultimately the digital signature part, in part of how you would handle that. Now, I'm going to get to the automation here in a little bit. One of the things I want to do is go back real quick and just kind of show you some of the estimates. Now, this is where inside of the estimate, you're going to have to build this out yourself. So you kind of see this is nothing more than an image. This is text.
This is a little table where I put in like location name, location website. So your company name, company website, the recipient, what the recipient's contact name is, just try to build out something that made it look like a estimate. So that's one of the things that we could utilize. And if we take a look here, notice that we've got this third row down here. If you come over here, just show you some of the things that you could do. Add row above, add row below, column. Over here, toggle header row. If you want to move it, delete the row, delete the column, and merge cells, split cells. So you can do all that kind of stuff and change border color. So it does give you quite a few options here to be able to customize it, and if you're going to utilize it. But here, one of the things I want to show you, this right here is in the elements board, this is the product list. So I dropped a product list in here and I added a product. So if I wanted to, just to kind of show you what you would do, you click on add item. This right here is a list of all of your products. These are products I've just used for demos in the past, but here's all of the products or services that you would have in your agency that you would be able to utilize. Now, these products are in the same place where you would think it would be under the payments area, products. These would be in Stripe, configured in your account. So this is where it would end up pulling from. If you don't see it here, you'll have to go add those products or services into the products list first before you can utilize this inside of the estimate to be able to pick from and then have pricing. So this right here is where you can simply come and add this, and notice for the builder, this is for WordPress premium website build. I'm just saying, we're going to charge somebody $5,000, and then you can have their information down here, have the client signature down here if you wanted to. Not only have one on this one, but if you wanted to, again, you can send out one with the client, one for you to make sure that it's both confirmed. But I think we just went through the digital signature part. Now, the thing here is that if this is going to be assigned, if you assign this here, then it's not really going to be able to be utilized if you ever want to use this in an automation or workflow. The client signature or the signature block has to be only one signature block. If you're using workflows and automations, which again, I'll get to here shortly, but you can only have one signature block, and the signature block is going to be used by the person whose contact record is associated with that workflow that's going through the workflow. If there's more than one block, now you can have this block and you can have another block. Like if I want to add a signature block here and move it down here, I can assign this to myself. Do you see what I mean? So I could do that and have the provider sign it, but this is already signed and configured inside of the builder. So if the template has that and the other signature does not, then this signature block is available for whatever the contact is going to have to be able to sign that. And I know it's kind of confusing. I'm going to show you, we go through the automations, kind of what that looks like. And I was doing some other testing on this and ran across problems whenever I had multiple client blocks, because what it does is it makes the user sign all client blocks in there. If you notice the previous example we had when I added John Smith, both of those client blocks were purple until I went to the second one and changed the user to test user. So that's the kind of problem that you run into when you're dealing with workflow automations, is that only one contact can go through the workflow at a time, in which case, it's not going to come out right if you've got multiple blocks on here. So just want to make sure that you understand that. And always, I should have said this earlier, but when you're configuring this, you have to test, and test. Build it up, build it, preview it, send it out to people, verify it looks good. Do this 2, 3, 4, 5 times if you need to, 20 times. But make sure that your proposals and your estimates are solid before you start sending them out through workflow. And that way you just make sure that everything's good, everything works, and that there are no mistakes. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and just delete this block and just save. So this right here, when you're dealing with estimates, this is where you can put the product list, you can add the product to the service and do all those other things in there that you want to do and send it out if you want to get somebody on an estimate. And then, if they accept the estimate for it, then, maybe you can then take that document and you've got another one that converts that to a proposal. So that could be the process that you have. But ultimately, that's all there is with regards to the documents and contracts. I just kind of wanted to show you all those different elements, fields, what you can use and how you can use them. But I know, let me just make sure on my list here, creating templates, template emails, document builder, the electronic signature do's and don'ts, meaning what I said, only have one unassigned signature field when if you want to use that in a workflow. And then the document creation automation, which is what we're going to get into now. So if you come in here to automation, and you come in, I've got this just under documents and contracts. So right now, I'm going to go over this one right here, this auto document signature. Now, right now, let's kind of explain the process. You're a marketing agency. You're going to probably have a funnel or a website where somebody can come and buy your product or service. Maybe you have a certain service. For instance, let's just take the example that you are providing the Highlevel software as a service, and they're on one of your SaaS plans. You have an onboarding funnel, which I have an onboarding funnel here in this sub account that I'm going to use as an example, and I'll just kind of take a quick look at that. But if we take a look here at the funnel, and maybe you're very similar, you've got just sort of a home screen where somebody can simply look at your plans. Hey, do you want a standard plan, pro plan, premium plan? And then you've got, different steps that links to your different purchase amounts and things like that. Then you come down here to your order confirmation. Then you can have an onboarding form, then setting up a client onboarding call, things like that. But this is a funnel that somebody is going to purchase one of your SaaS plans. That's the point. Whatever funnel or website that is, that's the one that we're going to focus on in the automation. So right now, let's just go through here and pull this back up. So here we're going to use the trigger of order form submission. So somebody goes to your funnel, they find your funnel, your direct traffic, have ads going to them. They look at it, they go, great, I want the standard plan or the pro plan. They click on the button, they go there to the order form, they get monthly or yearly pricing, however you got it set up. They order it, they buy it, and then that triggers an event inside of Highlevel, an order form submission event. So whenever you do that, you can come here to your filters. You can click on add filter. Now I'm going to blow this up a bit here. So under this right now, what we've got is we're going to filter this order form submission to just include the SaaS onboarding funnel or whatever funnel it is that you want to have in your, that you're placing your orders from. So the submission type, we're going to click on sale. Now notice we could do bump, opt-in, sale, or upsell. We're just going to do sale because we want them to purchase when they purchase your product or service. Okay. So when they do that, that is going to be the trigger. Now, when they do that, what I want to be able to do now is you have all these action items down here. And if we look under payments, strangely enough, it's where you have this send estimates and proposals right here. So notice under payments, send estimates and proposals. We're going to do that because now that they've gone through and they've accepted it. Now, as far as this goes here, I don't know any way of integrating this directly into your funnel. That would be kind of pretty cool. I know, some of the other providers, you can do embedded forms inside of the funnel where the next step it would pull the whole form up. That is pretty cool, but I haven't really found a way of doing that here. But what I want to do is just simply say, okay, from this, if you're going to be able to do this, you have to select a user in your account, one of your team members, and I'm going to do this and just select John Smith. So John is going to be who it's coming from. Okay, John's user, and then what template. Now notice on the templates, here's all the ones that we created. This is the estimate one. This is the one that we had spent the time building. And then this marketing template is the PDF one that we uploaded. So all of the ones that we have here are available. I'm just going to do the Digi estimate on this one to kind of show you what that's like and click Save Action. So now that you've got that workflow, there it is. I'm going to kind of, oh man, I love these builders sometimes when they do not respond correctly here and you lose the, come on. Let me get back. Sometimes you blow this stuff up. Highlevel really behaves strangely. But anyway, you get the whole point. You've got a trigger. You're going to sit back and add a proposal. When somebody buys something here, they're going to send that proposal out. And then you can do other things besides that as well. You could do anything you want inside of a workflow, but that's kind of what you would do. Now, I want to sit back and test this without having to go through a sale because I'm not going to sit back and buy anything in this to make this thing activate. So what I've got is just another workflow with an action of proposals. And then John Smith, right now what we're going to do is send this Digi estimate, click Save, Save again. And right now what I'm going to do is come over here. And what I'm going to do is simulate somebody purchasing it. So in order to do that, I'm going to sit back and come into our contacts area. I'm going to simply choose my contact over here. I'm going to click on Add to Campaign and manually send them through this particular process of send contract. And so this is, this right here is what you can do if you're going to be manually sending somebody a one-off thing. I mean, you could do this as well. And now you're choosing what contact that you're going to be able to send through it, which means that in the digital signature, the workflow is going to know what that person is. So I'm going to assign this to the send contract. Now, for this here, you might have to give me just a minute. I'm trying to sort of represent and send this all at one time here. It might take me just a minute to get to email. However, for this automation, once you get this, I'm trying to sit back and show you, you would get it. You would get the template now, the email template that you use for sending things out. The proposal template, that's the email template that's actually going to be utilized. What I wanted to show you is inside of this, whenever you send it out, I already did this earlier here. And if you take a look at this Digi estimate invoice, notice that I don't have, if I come back over here, I'm going to show you real quick, settings, I don't have this turned on. So without this being turned on, once that document is signed, then it's just going to create an invoice in draft mode, which is what it did. It created Digi estimate invoice, gave it an invoice number. Here's the customer. It's for today, $5,000. It's in draft mode, which means you can simply come in here and edit it and send it out whenever you want to for this. So this right here is just how that automation, once it's signed, it ties back into your document. So right now, if you take a look here and we go to completed, notice in this Digi document right here, if we open this up, this is the one that was sent out earlier. I was using, because sometimes things don't always go right on demos, but here's the one that we looked at here. Here's the signature. Whenever the signature was signed, then the system says, hey, you just got a new sale. Congratulations, buddy. But because we didn't have that little slider on the invoices checked, it didn't send the invoice out automatically. It kept it here. It's just a basic, sorry, I clicked on that one, but a basic one here under invoices. So that right there is everything that I could think of to try to show you from beginning to end about how to do proposals, contracts, how to build it inside the builder. Some of the pros and cons are sort of the elements, the workflow, how it's pretty straightforward to utilize that inside of your workflow, but you just need to make sure that you trigger it off of the corresponding event. And you need to make sure that you only have one unassigned electronic digital signature if you're going to be sending out the workflow. Otherwise, you can't do multiple people in a workflow right now, because you can't have multiple people going through a workflow at the exact same time. So until they fix that, I don't know if they will or not, high level, but that's what we have to deal with right now, which we can work around it. As long as you design it, you build your template correctly, you can utilize it and make it work. So I hope you found the video useful. I hope you found a lot of good information in this. If you did, leave me a comment. If you do have a question, I'm sure, like some of my other more complicated, longer videos, this is going to get a lot of comments and questions, which I love, regarding, how did this work, or how does it work in this scenario? Leave me a comment. I always appreciate it. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button. If you know people that are interested in high level, then have them come to my channel. I have a lot of great videos where I try to teach people how to utilize the new features, even if they're more complicated, to sit down and utilize it and build it for your particular system. Because sometimes when people are working through this, they can just pull their hair out because of how complicated this thing is. So anyway, if you have not subscribed, again, click the subscribe button. I always appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video, and have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're looking to learn more about the GoHighlevel system, platform, and maybe you even want to start your own software as a service company, click on the description below. I offer a free course, and this course goes over all the things you would need to know regarding Highlevel. I even teach you 8 ways that you can make money with a Highlevel system with no experience, no tech skills, and no money out of pocket. Check out my link in the description below, and have a great day.